Hey class, my name is Peter Westerman and I'm just checking in this week doing a video for the discussion board post. This is something that I used to do in other classes and I thought I would try it out in this one. So if you let me know what you think about doing the video and if I should keep doing them or not, I'd appreciate the feedback. So anyway, this week we were asked a what if history question of what do you think would happen to Christian theology if Constantine was never converted? Personally, I think these what if history questions are kind of difficult to answer because there's really no way to say for sure. It's kind of just conjecture, which is a fun like experiment or exercise like of historical thought. But ultimately, it's really hard to say what would happen, right? So that aside, what do I think would happen if Constantine was never converted? Well, I think the first thing we have to consider is what was the nature of Constantine's conversion, right? So a little bit of research shows us that Constantine converted at a time when Christianity wasn't really a super popular religion just yet. He was emperor during the 4th century, 321 AD. So we know that Christianity was still still growing, and it was in competition with, if you look at it as a competition with many other religions at that time, especially in that area. And so the Roman Empire had at that time still just accepted almost any religion as long as you paid homage to the Roman Empire, emperor rather, as kind of God on earth. So if as long as you accepted that, you could believe whatever you wanted to believe. And Christianity was just one of those many beliefs. So why did Constantine convert? Well, his mother was actually a Christian, which kind of, I guess, opened up his heart and exposed him to Christianity. But what the real reason why he converted was because he actually was desperate and asked God to give him victory at the Battle of the Milvian Bridge. I think that's how you pronounce it. And so because he won that battle, he attributed that to God, and out of responsibility and obligation to God giving him that victory, he converted to Christianity. Now some people look at history and they say, well, maybe Constantine just converted to Christianity as a political ploy to gain power, but that's probably unlikely because of how unpopular Christianity was in that time. Not that it was like dispopular, but that just there weren't a lot of Christians. Some of the numbers I was finding was maybe like 10 or 15% of the population was Christian. So it probably wasn't for political gain that he converted to Christianity. And he also, there's a couple of points that I was finding that sometimes Constantine is accredited as creating the Christianity as the state religion, which isn't true. That wasn't done until a couple decades later by Theodosius, and so that's just not true either. So, but what did he do? As the emperor, being Christian, he kind of gave Christianity a greater respectability than it had had before, and that then made a surgence for a lot of conversions afterwards. So you see a big increase in the number of Christians in the Roman Empire after his conversion. And it also kind of established Rome to be set up as the quote-unquote epicenter of Christianity in the centuries to come. At the time of Constantine's conversion, Christianity was already beginning to spread eastward in kind of a very heavy way, all the way to China. So if Constantine perhaps didn't convert, maybe the eastern countries would have been more of the center of Christianity, possibly making more of an Eastern Orthodox Christianity than the Roman Orthodox Christianity as the center. So that would be interesting. But I think ultimately, I guess maybe the cop-out is that we know that history is the way it is because that's the way it was supposed to be, and that's how God's plan acted out. And so it's pretty obvious that God used Constantine to bring out the church that he wanted, that he needed, his church, right? And so if quote unquote Constantine didn't convert, God would have used somebody else. But then you run into the question of, did Constantine really have a choice in his conversion, or did God orchestrate those events to make sure that he converted, by ensuring him winning the battle and knowing that he would then feel obligated to turn to Christianity and all these things. So again, these what if questions, you can keep going down in spirals, wondering and wondering, but ultimately we rest on the assurance that the history that we have behind us is the one that God put into place. So anyhow, just a couple of thoughts, and hope to have some more discussion with you guys on the post below and in your posts. So thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you later.